Join us for a review of the Volvo XC40 as the pure electric version. Let's go! In the front we can see that the EV version of the XC40 has this closed front grille, so that appears less sporty, less aggressive. However, the overall front is still quite strong, pretty much upright, although it's still their smallest SUV. But really, this is the only EV fact you can see. Everything else looks just the same as with the combustion engine. The length is at 4.42 meters, 14 foot 4 or 174 inches. And you see in the side profile, just the same as the XC40 we know. Color-wise again, this one Thunder Grey, but we also have a sage green car for you here today, a very interesting color. That one you see also has 20-inch wheels, the bigger ones. The car we have here, 19-inch wheels, so these here would be standard. And we also have a crystal white car for you, so some color variations, of course, even more are available. For example here, the bursting blue, of course, the Thomas blue for the XC40. This would be my choice. The rear, very clean design, and here the typical vertical tail lamps we know from the Volvo estates and also from the Volvo SUVs. As for the facts and figures, here the electric version, one electric motor in the front, one electric motor in the rear, still a front wheel bias, and you overall have around 400 horsepower and 4.9 seconds is the acceleration figure to 100 kilometers an hour. That's of course pretty impressive, even a little bit less than 260 miles an hour. As for the top speed, 180 kilometers an hour, as all the other Volvos are restricted now. That's 112 miles per hour. But for an electric vehicle, that's actually quite fast and quick. As for the battery size, 78 kilowatt hours gross or 75 kilowatt hours net, giving you a range in good conditions about 400 kilometers or 250 miles. And as for recharging, is 11 kilowatt AC or 150 kilowatt DC, so the fast charging also will be quick enough if you have the suitable charging station for that. Now to the interior, we can see here interesting structures at the inside of the doors, optional Harman Kardon sound system, and this lava orange felt interior is also an option, so you can also go for a more subtle note. That's also no problem. I can also show you here a different interior with another color styling, so you can choose. Then steering wheel with interesting contrast stitches on the inside. The seats here with microfiber on the inside is also standard for the pure electric version. However, on the outsides, still animal parts are being used, same as for the steering wheel. Unlike in the Polestar 2, they do not offer an animal-free interior for the XC40 EV yet. However, Volvo promised to be working on that and will also reveal more of their strategy very soon. Getting inside, the cool thing here about the XC40, I also told you that with the launch, with the earlier reviews. By the way, if you want to tune into the plug-in hybrid model or to the petrol model, you can also check these reviews out here on our channel. Then, the seating position is already quite upright. That means it's their small SUV, but it already feels quite big and sophisticated when you sit here on the inside. Interior overview. First of all, you can see there's this blind button, so to speak. This would be the start-stop button in the combustion engine. Here, there's a seat sensor, so as soon as you sit down, the car knows you're here, and you can just start driving or put it in the D or in the reverse mode, and that's it. So yeah, why not? But you see there is this platform sharing with the combustion engine. Soft touch here then. Top part, steering wheel in a quite compact size. Right side, change the volume, for example, or to activate the voice control, but you can also just do it with Hey Google and that already gets activated. And on the left side, the cruise control settings. Then 12.3-inch digital instruments, so more details to that. Right side, 9-inch screen in a vertical way. And you can see the camera here at the moment, zoom on to that because this is now the new Android-based system. Instruments in the parking mode, cleaned up like this, and you see the battery status. When you put in a gear, then you have this map view all over the place, left side speed, and once again the battery status in the lower right down there, but they do not show us the kilometer or miles left, and this was an intentional decision, and I think it's a wrong decision because I want to see, how many kilometers or miles I have left. Don't you want to do that as well? We have to ask Google for that, but here in the instruments you cannot show this. You can also not switch like Tesla is offering. And on the left side we will see at least the consumption figure. Now the infotainment system, Android-based, and of course Google just does it the best. So many manufacturers invest millions of money in their own infotainment system and fail, and here Volvo and Polestar, they just get it from Google, and it's the best. Here, super responsive as for the map, and we know we have the best real-time traffic information as for that. Then you connect your phone via Bluetooth, but the cool thing is you can also have your playlist in there. So unlike with the Teslas, I do not miss the Apple CarPlay here because I can pick my playlist right here. And that's of course really, really cool. So I'm absolutely fine with that. Why not? Apple CarPlay, however, will come at a later stage if you want it still. Then here, how can I help? That's the voice input. You can activate it here. Or you can also then say, hey Google, set temperature to 22 degrees.
All right, changing the temperature to 22 degrees.
And look at that, how fast this is going. It's like real-time voice input. Or, hey Google, drive me to Berlin.
Berlin is 3 hours and 6 minutes from your location by car in light traffic.
So here we go, GPS starts. There we go. And then also the charging is calculated. And see here at the moment, yeah, this will not work, says at the moment. Yeah, I think the calculation is at the moment done by, standing still and having the heating on. So we'll see about the realistic range then when we drive that later. At the moment here, all about the infotainment system. So again, best ratings as for the infotainment system. And you can even make complicated calculations. Let's say, hey Google, 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in kilowatt hours per 100 miles.
17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers is 27.359 kilowatt hours per
100 miles. That was missing. But see, I'll automatically calculate 17 kilowatt hours in 100 kilometers is 27 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. So I don't even have to do it in my head. And by the way, here, listen to the sound. Harman Kardon sound system. Whoa, yeah. That's cool. Here, surround, all on surround. Mid settings, that's fine. Awesome sound. And now to the rear compartment, easy entry. And you have an upright seating position here with 1.86 or 6.1. Yeah, I can put a hand over my head. Without the panoramic roof, it would be a little bit more. Interior materials at the inside of the doors also quite good, so high build quality. Legroom, There's also some left, so very good usage of space and really comfortably also for the rear seats. There is a frunk, yes, a front trunk. You have to release it from the inside like you would release the front hood with a combustion engine. Then here another opening and is a cover, and then you have to put this one up, and there's then more space, for example, in here for a charging cable bag. Electric hatch, and the trunk is at 413 liters. It's the same capacity than with the combustion engine, so no compromise as for that. Cabin trolley here fits also in a vertical way, no problem. Then we have an even loading sill. I really like that. And if you want to use some of the space below that, you can also do it like this, and then you can, have some more storage right there. So it's actually quite nice. You can also lift up this whole thing. And you can also split the trunk by this a little bit. So actually quite flexible. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Volvo XC40 P8 Recharge AWD. Well, the XC40 EV, staying with that. And in city traffic, it's really nice to move it around. The steering wheel is pretty direct, really precise as well. Low center of gravity, have the battery pack in the lower bottom, and I can already say right now that it just feels more agile to drive than any of the combustion engine models. Plus, it has the faster acceleration with these 4.9 seconds to 1 kilometers or 4.7 seconds to 60 miles an hour. So really quick, especially from the get-go. I'll soon also show that to you. And here in the city traffic, we've been cruising around just a little bit. And yeah, the energy consumption figures somewhat around the 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. So like somewhat 30 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. And that means we are somewhat in the 200 miles plus something areas, and between these 300 and 400 kilometers so far, as we know, for the city consumption and so on. And the overall feeling of this car is on the one hand quite normal, because it feels somehow like the other XC40 models, but then again a little bit more sophisticated with this new infotainment system. I really have the best Google Maps guidance. I also have this updated digital instruments, so this is really a step forward if you compare it to the combustion engine models. So this is just more intuitive, just easier to use. The one-pedal driving is standard. You can theoretically also turn that off in the infotainment system. I would not necessarily recommend that. They did not go for any charging, for any shifting pedals here to change the recuperation or so. So they want that standard one-pedal driving feeling for you, or to turn it off. And usually with the electric vehicles, you get used to that. You just lift your foot off the throttle and then the car is decelerating. What they also did here is a technology we haven't seen so far, so-called brake blending. And that means even if the battery is fully charged and you lift the throttle, you still feel as you would have recuperation. But in this case, then it's done by the brakes. You might remember from our Tesla reviews or also other electric vehicles, when you are fully charged and you lift your foot off the throttle, the car is just rolling, coasting, sailing, but not braking. And you have to brake it yourself. And sometimes if you're not used to that and you don't know, in the first moment, oh, wait a minute, battery is full, at the moment it's not recuperation, have to hit the brakes. Here they wanted always to have the same feeling for the customer, and therefore do this brake blending technology like this, that you have a seamless transition and you always have the very, very same feeling. And very interesting, and yeah, why not? Because even me, sometimes you forget and then you were irritated or something. However, more irritating is really I only see the battery status in percentage and I do not see the remaining range, and that is really irritating to me. When I drive the electric vehicles, I really want to see the remaining range. I just want to have that, So here now in the city traffic, I have sneaked myself forward, and this could be a very good moment when the traffic light jumps to green and I just do a 0 to 50 and sneak myself, and that's it. Yeah. As everyone. So yeah, Haven't had it that sporty in the Volvo for a long time. Really super quick acceleration. The all-wheel drive has no mechanical link, of course. One electric motor in the front, one in the rear. Important information, there will be a different version later with just one electric motor in the front, which is then a cheaper entry version, also with a lower horsepower spec then, of course. And there will also be lower battery spec versions to save some money. So if you watch this video here at the later stage, maybe it's already available. So this one then being the all-wheel drive model, the P8. Not sure if they will give them other names. Here, this video recording when we are actually right now filming this here at the video launch. So, but I mean, this all-wheel drive, great acceleration, and it also felt evenly distributed. So usually you have a little bit of a front wheel bias, but when you really hit it, then both motors really give you all the maximum boost they have. And once again, it is so cool to move it around here in the city. It just feels very, very agile. It's a lot of fun to drive it. So really the most fun I had, recently was driving a Volvo, and even more fun than in a normal XC40. Of course, being the electric vehicle, we have even more silence in here, and the noise insulation is really good. We'll also soon test it when we drive a little bit faster, but here in the city you hear nothing, super silent. We have that SUV upright seating position as well. And also due to the microfiber seating surface, it adapts a little bit better to the body than if you would have the pure animal skin surface, of course. So at this moment, to me, of course, the seats should be animal free, and we expect it, especially from the electric vehicles, which all have the more sustainable approach. The Polestar 2 does totally deliver that. And we could buy the Polestar 2 for the very same price as we're buying this one. Also shares the same technology and so on and so on. The question is then rather really sedan versus SUV. The Polestar 2 is a little bit more consistent than in the approach, but here you have the upright seating position and the huge hatch where you can load things better in and out and so on. And here in the city, you just get along a little bit better. It's not a huge vehicle. This is something where everyone can be happy with in a way, because it's not too long on the exterior. You can still find your parking spots, but you already have a lot of space on the interior. We've seen that earlier. So it's a very, very good compromise, actually. And at the end of this drive here, 17 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. That's 27 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. With city traffic, acceleration, motorway, countryside, a good mix. And this would indeed be 440 kilometers of range or 270 miles of range. This is a good result, and we had the very, very same result with the Polestar 2. And now to our conclusion for today with the Volvo XC40 here in the pure electric version. First of all, from the exterior you still get the normal XC40 look, and people so far liked it, so they will also do now. Just with the difference with the closed front grille, everything else the same. It does not scream out, I'm EV. It just says, I'm this Volvo SUV. From the interior we see a good build quality. We also see nice materials, not entirely animal free yet, but Volvo is working on that, at least also for other models and for future concepts. They definitely know what they are doing in this respect. Not yet 100% in this vehicle, but it's coming up. Greater things, definitely with the infotainment system, Google or Android based, that's the way to go. So many other manufacturers invest so much money in their own infotainment system, and they are still so much worse than what we see here. This is the perfect infotainment system, just an easy and good solution. Driving wise, even better, even more fun than with the combustion engine. It is already a quite, nice drive in the combustion engine here with the XC40, but here with a lower center of gravity, even sportier. It is heavier but feels lighter somewhat. That's the thing here with the electric vehicles. And of course, great boost, great acceleration boost. It's really a lot of fun to drive. Actually the most fun we've had in a Volvo SUV. So just driving wise for a customer, it should be the electric version. Pricing wise, when you end up with about 60,000 euros with some trim, equipment, assistance systems, upgrade and so on. This car here is 70,000 euros. That's not cheap at all, of course not. It's a premium SUV segment. However, if you think about when you put a high-spec petrol car for the XC40, you wouldn't pay less. And then you think about governmental subsidies or some taxation benefits and so on and so on. And then price won't be, that much of a difference to the normal combustion engine of this vehicle here. So, range-wise, it's actually comparable to a Polestar 2, for example. So you also get a long ride there, some 400 kilometers, 250 miles. That's, of course, not as much as we know from a new Tesla Model 3, for example, but still enough here if we take a look at the competition. So overall, I think one of the best offerings as for the EV market right now. Looking forward to your feedback. What do you think here? The XC40 EV, I think it's an easier name than like Recharge, P8 AWD. Who uses that? They even put on their homepage saying like, okay, that's the pure electric, because they say Recharge both for the plug-in hybrids and for the pure EVs. So I hope you enjoyed our episode here for today. We did in filming it just for you. See you next time.